Hi, do you remember? About 3 months ago, I came up with this initial idea about making an 18650 recovery machine. And since then, there's been so much feedback, so many positive responses, and a few people who were willing to help. Well, there were 3 initial concepts, and we need to talk about the pros and cons of them and choose one to move forward with. So, Mr. Dre, take it away.
Coming real, it's the next episode.
So let's talk about the pros of the modular gravity-fed system. Well, the first thing is it's modular. What does that mean? That means you can create this box to your own needs. So we all know that charging normally takes 2 to 3 times longer than discharging. So you can have 3 or 2 boxes of stage 1, which is charging, stacked together, and this would speed up the charging processes. Or you could have 3 charging and 2 discharging to speed up the whole process of recovery of the 18650 cells. So that's the one benefit, it's totally customizable to your needs. The second good aspect of this design is each of the modules is serviceable. So let's say something goes wrong or something needs maintenance, you don't have to open up the whole machine. You just detach the single module that is the problem, open it up, fix the problem, put it back into the system. Job done. The third reason is simplified manufacturing. The modules consist of 5 sides, 4 walls and a bottom. So the 4 walls, 3 of them are going to be identical and all the bottoms are identical. It takes one side to be slightly different. We can spin these out very quickly. They are all flat packed. You can get them as a kit form and then you can assemble them very easily. So third reason, simplified manufacturing and easy to put together for you guys. Let's talk about the cons. The one issue that we have with this, I feel, is the servo. Anything to do with mecha electronics or any mechanism of any kind is prone to failure. Although servos are very reliable, they're still prone to failure. The servos that will be used in this design will be used to lift trapdoors and open gates, which will allow the cells to progress to the next stage. So that is the main problem we will have here, is that there is a high chance of servos failing. The design is also based on gravity. Gravity acts upon the cells, which ride down ramps, and those ramps themselves will be set to 30 degrees. Now the problem is, we know that when you take out the cells from laptop packs, they're not going to be even or cylindrical. In fact, some of them are going to be sticky, some of them are going to have dried silicone on them, and they may not roll 100%. And on my test, I found that they never roll on center, they tend to veer off to one side, so there's a high chance that there could be battery jamming within this system. That's the end of concept 1, and I think we'll leave that one, just because I feel that there's still some complexities behind that design, especially the ramps. The ramps could be their downfall. Well, the second concept was really thinking outside the box. This one is called the Discharge Inator. So the concept kind of evolved from the modular system in the sense that we wanted to increase the number of cells processing at once. And the only way I could think about this was to put it on a wheel and partition this into 3 slices, and each slice would then process each of the phases. So the actual disk itself could work up to 3 times as quick as the modular system, but it could be mounted vertically or it could be mounted horizontally. Now, even though it's a fancy idea and there's lots involved in that concept, it did involve one stepper motor to spin the whole disk. So using a particular cam profile, the 18650s would sit perpendicular to the disk itself, i.e. upright if they were on a desk. And these would then be navigated through these special profiles to be guided through their recovery processes. And I would say it would be quite a cool looking thing to be hung on the wall. It would almost be like artwork. Now the con is, so even though the disk is split into 3 parts to make the whole process 3 times faster, it still in essence I think will take longer, because if you look at one section, it has the charge, discharge and recharge. Well, when it's discharged, the discharging part needs to wait until a cell has charged for it to discharge. Stay with me on this one. We know that charging takes 3 times longer than discharging, so the discharging would take 3 times as longer because it's having to wait for a battery to be in the state ready to be discharged. Hope that made sense? So, to recap, even though it's designed to be 3 times faster, looking at the design now, I think it would take 3 times longer to do its processes. And like our previous concept, this is totally reliant on the cells being totally clean, cylindrical and easy to roll. Well, it ain't going to be happening on this one because we'll have sticky residue, dry silicone, God knows what else, and it will inevitably get jammed down its guide rails as it pushes it towards the processing chambers. Third issue, the hopper itself is not very big, and to make a bigger hopper would mean that the disk would have to grow even larger, which could take up valuable worktop space as well as wall space, and ultimately make the thing even heavier, which means that with the stepper motor would have to be upscaled as well. So I think, even though it's thinking outside the box, we'll give that one a miss and throw it in the bin and on to the next concept. So this brings us to our last and final concept, and this concept is called the grid and involves the principle of KISS. Keep it stupid simple. No, keep it simple stupid. And the idea is principally based on incubating eggs. You put the cells within each coordinate and the cells don't actually physically move. Through electronics, that coordinate changes from charge to discharge back to recharge, and then find the internal resistance as well, which is great because there is no movement of the cells. Simply fill up the box, leave it for the day, come back in the evening and record the capacity. You couldn't get anything easier than that. So what are the pros of this concept? Well, number one, ease of manufacture, my favorite thing. All the design will be done. The 3D model will be available. The components will easily be accessible. Nothing really will be customized. And basically it will involve an Arduino. We'll still use a TP4056. A discharge circuit will be created, which will have a fixed load to provide the discharge. And yes, you can even work out the internal resistance, all controlled by Arduino. All these parts can be bought yourself, and all you have to do is follow a schematic and put this together yourself. The code for the Arduino, which is called a sketch, will also be available. You simply download, upload it to your Arduino, and away you go. Second big reason, which I think is one of the biggest reasons, there's zero electromechanical means to move the batteries around. So it means less likely for things to fail. The only thing that will be a moving part will be mainly a hinge and possibly the relays. Third reason, that it has a very small footprint, and in fact it probably wouldn't even take as much space as 2 IMAX B6 chargers. You could process up to 30 batteries unattended and come back and retop those up. Should you want more? Well, then it's easy enough to create another box for yourself because you already produced one, and you can go on and have as many as you need. Fourth reason is software upgrades and new options. So here you could add new facilities and new modes to the machine. For example, you have a group of batteries and you want to quickly get rid of the bad cells. Well, check for the cells that have very low voltage as well as high internal resistance, and then begin your recovery process. Number 5, it's also hardware upgradable. So if you have a new component that's come out, better relays, or even just want to do some maintenance and you're not too happy about a TP4056, well, swap it out because you can easily access it and the parts are readily available both for maintenance and whatnot. And of course, the last reason is it's portable. Let's say you're a traveling engineer, you want to process some batteries in the car, or you're having a picnic with the family, I don't know. Whatever you do in your own time is your own time. So you take that with you and you can process on the go. I'm sure your family will thank you for that. Now the cons are, clearly you're going to need a 3D printer of some kind. And if you don't have one, it's not a big deal. There's lots of 3D printing companies out there. So these parts can be sent off to them. For a small fee, they will print these parts out for you. You will need an intermediate level of skill regarding the electronics. You'll need to know how to solder cleanly, strip wires, understand the polarity of components and how things go together. Also, you will need to have some basic understanding of how an Arduino works and how you can connect it, get the sketch program up and running. So these things you will have to have a small understanding about how electronics work, and most of my audience should already know that. It's not fully automated. It would be ideal if there was a mechanism to make annotations directly onto the cell. Well, don't be too disheartened. I'm already looking into a printer, a label printing machine, which is USB powered, and there are quite a few out there. I've found one that is USB, and I found another that is Bluetooth, and they can have small labels printed to them. So you never know, watch this space. There's an option to have an additional upgrade module added to this machine which can print miniature labels. Personally, in the scope of things, I don't think it's a big deal to sit there and write them manually on the writing station, which would be designed as part of this package. And of course, there's been some great suggestions and comments regarding what I should involve in the design or what I may have forgotten, but we'll leave those for the next episode, as this is all about choosing one concept. So thank you very much. Double thumbs up to you guys. I must mention at this stage that there has been a lot of offers to help, and I thank every one of you guys that have offered to help. And there is one particular subscriber and YouTuber who has made great advances in the electronics, an area that I have really struggled in. Well, you're going to be pleased to know that me and Chris Bird will be collaborating on this project. Who is Chris Bird? Well, I tell you what, go and check his channel out. Links will be provided at the end of this video as well as in the description below. He professes to be new to electronics, but I'm going to tell you this, with what I've seen, is blowing my mind. Well, I hope this episode wasn't so boring. Normally I like to make stuff, but we are leading up to something epic. Your comments are always welcome, negative or positive, it doesn't matter to me. It's all input at the end of the day, which helps this project. For those that have requested for me to have a tweet account, I've finally got an account open. Please feel free to tweet me. And also, there's been a few that have asked for a Patreon account, and I don't know nothing about Patreon, so I'll look into that as well and hopefully provide links accordingly. So there's only one real goal for you guys out there, is to share NERDVille's vision. And what is the vision? Well, it's to get us like-minded individuals together to work on projects that you might think is impossible, but collectively, with joint brain power, we can do this the nerd way. And hopefully, with Project JU, this will be the first of many to come. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.
Go.